It is time for Lux's 11 Words of Wonder 9B. So last time, 12 of the remaining 13 of you responded to the 9th prompt, which was, we are approaching the 10th prompt, but I have no idea what it should be. That's saying, what should the round 10 prompts be? If you saw 9A, you'd know that Cheddar was eliminated for not responding, leaving us with our final 12. So after this episode, we'll be down to 11. Which means, coincidentally enough, round 10 will determine the top 10. With that out of the way, a total of 11 voters cast 132 votes. Just slightly less than last time. But nothing worth canceling over. Ahem, LMTI. Every voter voted on every response, so every response got 11 votes, with the average being 11. And so, the round 9 results has begun. We start, as always, with Monochrome. He said, Prompt, praise luxury Lapras. Using host bias, receive rigs from hosts. Luxurious. Yikes, there's a lot of things wrong with this response, which is not normal coming from first place on the leaderboard at the moment. First off, the first word prompt is definitely unnecessary. The prompt mentions this as to put in a prompt between two invisible hyphens. And this definitely fails that check. Second, I am not a biased host. I treat all of my competitors equally, from my mother to some random plushie I found on the curbside a few days ago. And lastly, you mentioned hosts, plural. I'm the only host, so another mistake. And lastly, luxurious? I'm not sure if that's a reference to my very old camp, Survivor Luxury Isles, but I'll just assume so. Either way though, you are still the first one to be revealed, so it may not all be bad news. We'll just have to see. Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad news. Only 40%. And considering the leaderboard only goes down to 30% this time around, this is definitely on the lower side of response scores. Despite this though, you're safe into the final 11. Good job, Monochrome. Next up to go is Jaden19248. He said, what was the requirement you needed to become the chosen one? Ooh, this can reference a bunch of different things, so variety is definitely a check on this one. And second of all, when I first read this response, the first thing that came to mind was Pokemon the Movie 2000, The Power of One, where Ash, aka the Chosen One, is called upon to put the three orbs of the legendary reverse into a pedestal around the center of the Orange Islands to summon Lugia and stop them from fighting and whatever. It's a great movie. I highly recommend checking it out. I believe it is still currently up on the official Pokemon TV YouTube channel, but I could be wrong. Hopefully I am right. Either way, this is a great prompt. Let's see how the voters fare. So nice to see a lot of other people agree with me on this one. 64.55%. Nicely done, Jaden. That puts you well ahead of Monochrome in a good position to win the round. Do you think it could happen? And for the first time in a good while, Monochrome has lost first place on the leaderboard. That saying, Sadio IG is up next. He has a 2,000 point bonus for this round. That'll be applied at the end of this results format though. Either way, he said, elaborate minimalism by extending the definition. In other words, use maximalism. This response / prompt confuses me a bit. Firstly, this isn't a prompt-esque type response I expected, since it doesn't really technically have a question. And second of all, I have no idea what you're referencing by the term maximalism. My best guess is that a disproportionate amount of long words should be used in everyone's responses, which won't really add anything special. It may make the responders a little bit unfun. Despite this though, again, you still have that 2,000 point boost, so you're not entirely screwed over here. Exactly 50%. We've had a lot of scores hit exactly 50% throughout this entire competition, so this is nothing out of the ordinary. And with your 2,000 point boost, you technically scored 60% this time around. Still not as high as Jaden's score, but still pretty good nonetheless. And you're safe into the final 11. Next up to go is Brian128462. He said, this task teases thinking. The 20th letter shall appear 13 times. This one is my personal favorite of the round. Although it may not be technically considered a prompt due to the lack of a question, this response is very creative and, in fact, is a valid response to itself, as the 20th letter, T, appears in this response / prompt exactly 13 times. Very creative. This must have took a lot of time, and I applaud you for executing it brilliantly, Brian. Let's see how you did. Okay, that's crazy. Only 40%? That is not what I expected. Apparently, that was a hot take for me just then. I'm sorry, Brian, but the voters' decisions is final, and it's not mine to overturn. Next up on the block is Brick. He said, Team Water is making serious money. How do you outpace them? A nice reference to the current philanthropy or charity effort going on to give 40 million years of water towards people in need, accompanied by Mr. Beast, of course. So, I think most normal voters would definitely have the most time understanding your prompt. And also, this one definitely passes the variety test, as I can see a lot of different ways of people coming up with making $40 million in less than a month. I think you're all set, Brick. 53.64%. Again, that's lower than what I expected, but still pretty good nonetheless, considering all things. That puts you second on the leaderboard for now. And you're safe into the final 11, Brick. Nicely done. Next up is Nader4. And this is a pretty significant jump, since you need 63.99% or higher to be declared safe. He said, write a reason why the number 10 is important to you. I'm sorry to say this, Nader, but this response is the epitome of meta and unoriginal. Going meta in a TWOW or EWOW is not a smart idea. But who knows? Maybe you know something that I don't. Apparently 42.78 is your score. Not the lowest of the round, but still not good at all. You're over 20% below the saved region. And with only 7 people left to go, you're not entirely out of the woods just yet. Next up is Santi. He said, "Time to mess with standard deviation. Give me your biggest hot take." This is a bold prompt/response coming from the person who submitted the most controversial response of last round, which also was one of the most controversial responses in this competition as a whole. But either way, this prompt would be a lot of fun, since a lot of people will get their opinions out. That may cause a bit of backlash though, so every pro has its con, but either way, this would still make for a great prompt. Let's see how you did, Santi. A nice 61.82%. Slightly below Jay, but still pretty good nonetheless. We're over halfway done now. Next up is Tenazed. He said, "Take a phrase, reorder words, make grammatical sense. Funniest sentence wins." This response also definitely passes the variety test, since there are millions of phrases that are 11 words. So I could see a lot of fun and creative entries coming from this prompt. I think you're all set, Tenazed. And wow, have I said that quite a number of times this episode. "58.18%. Nicely done. You're safe into the final 11. Next up is ChatGPT. He said, or rather they, said, "Aliens land on Earth, demanding snacks. Which food saves humanity?" Another response that passes the variety test. And also using a common myth that aliens are going to come to Earth relatively soon is quite a nice touch, I must say. Although, this response could be a little bit unoriginal. Alas, it's not my vote that counts, it's the voters that counts. And the voters gave you a score of 57.27%. Pretty good, and you're safe into the final 11, ChatGPT. I definitely didn't expect you to make it this far, but you've proved time and time again that you have the capabilities of doing well. Third to last up is Joe Mama. She said, "Choose an inspirational theme song for your generation, and say why." Yet another prompt that passes the variety test, aka the variety test, meaning that a lot of different responses can come from this prompt, which is a good thing. And just a little bit of trivia for you all. She came up with this response while we were talking at a McDonald's. So, yes, while we were in McDonald's, she pulled up her phone, entered this into the form, and sent it. all with McDonald's Wi-Fi. Pretty bizarre. Either way, let's see how this response did. Oh, just barely below the safe region by less than 1%. Despite this though, you're still definitely in a good position, since Tenseyak and Boothcard have yet to go, and they have much lower scores than you. So, unless both of them get a score higher than Jaden, you're going to be going home. But I am very highly doubtful that that will happen. So nice job, Joe. Second to last up is Tenseyak, our efficiency champion. He said, as experienced players, how should we honor our eliminated contestants? Another made-up response, but unlike Nader 4's, this one works a lot better, since there isn't really a good way of honoring eliminated contestants in this competition. Mainly due to the fact that people who have DNP'd haven't gotten a proper eulogy for the name. So this would add a great new addition to Lee Lao. And I can see a lot of fun responses coming from this prompt. Let's see how you did, Tenseyak. Oh, only 55.45%. That's a little lower than what I expected. So you are on the chopping block. Joe Mama is safe in the final 11, however. But this will be a close battle between you and Boothcard. Last up is Boothcard. He said, all water sources have been contaminated. What do we drink now? This one doesn't quite pass the variety test, as I can see two people submitting very similar responses to this. But either way, it's another good prompt, and is a little bit original, which is good. So, it's down to you and Tenseyak. One of you will move into the final 11, while the other will be eliminated in 12th place. With all that said, the one moving into the final 11 is... not Boothcard. You were just 2 vote placements away from being safe. But, alas, all good things must come to an end. You played a great game, Boothcard, but your journey must end here. Whoops, made a typo with Brian's name on this slide apparently. And saw that UIG's 2,000 points have been added. I may have forgotten a few other prize points, so if I did, please let me know. Boothcard. You showed us to be one of the best players coming out of the gate with a gold medal in the first round. However, since that gold medal, you haven't placed first place in any round up until your elimination here again. It's so sad to see our first round winner go home. But alas, as I said before, all good things must come to an end. You played an amazing game, Boothcard, and I hope to see you in a future season. Now for notable events. After many close calls, such as 2/4 in a couple of thirds, Jaden19248 finally won their first round. It's arguably the most important one since his response will be round 10's prompts. Along with him, Sansi and Tenized will get double response prizes for the next round. Speaking of Tenized, that's his third in the last 4 rounds. He must have a severe case of rosmetalitis. All of that coming from the 23rd place in round 1. Bravo! You're a true rising star, Tenized. Also, from Tenized down to Boot Card, each competitor was a 1 vote placement below the player that went before them. How? Finally, since we've reached round 10, and we will have our final 10 this round, it's time for another points increase. From now on, all points gained will be tripled! Time for statistics! With Monochrome doing pretty poorly this round, we have a new frontrunner in town, being Jaden19248, with the only average rank being below 5. The efficiency champion is, unsurprisingly, still Tensayak, and it's not even close. The consistency master is still Jaden19248 as well. And Tensayak is still the wildest survivor. Finally, as for the Spotlight Hogger, we actually have a tie between Monochrome and Newt, each having 28 mentions each. And just a quick side note, Newt recently broke the record for most mentions in one episode with 11 in 8B. So here are the current standings. If your name is zoned in red, you're unable to respond to any upcoming LiWoW Season 1 prompts. So with that all out of the way, it's time for your 10th, not 9th, prompts. It is, by Jaden19248, what was a requirement you needed to become the Chosen One? I forgot the deadline slide this time, so I'll just say it right here. The deadline to respond is August 24th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all from me. See you next time. Ciao.